So recording is in progress. Well, it's with great joy that I welcome everyone who's with us either here in cyberspace or here in the building. This is a Sunday of rejoicement and gratitude for all of us in our community. I before I say anything else, let's start with prayer. David?
Thank you, Carol. God, we give you thanks on this Sunday of all Sundays for the diversity of ways in which we're called to reflect your image in the world. Different faiths and all sorts of other ways of diversity, yet all called to connect, to console, to comfort, and to care. We give thanks for those who are gathered here, those online, all of who seek to answer that call to care through service. Bless our time together in the various ministries gathered. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And welcome this morning. We're talking this morning about the fact that, mission makes a difference. Outreach makes a difference, brings us together as we reach out. And we're very, very grateful to have some representatives of different projects that we are sponsoring as our church and in collaboration with a number of other churches. We have Jim Kettler and Elaine Henderson talking about our Smart Sacks project. We have Brigida and Dave Brigette and Evelyn Gansglass, who will tell us something about the myriad interfaith refugee projects that we've had. We'll have Joan Burns talk about the project that we're working with Westminster Church. Faith Presbyterian, excuse me, Faith Presbyterian, thank you. And Jen Klein will be talking about the project that we have with Becky's house. So before I need to go on, I want to thank everybody for being here and being with us. And let's begin here. First, we'll hear about the projects and what they involve. And then you will have a chance after we've made the presentation. So thank you. Elaine, Jim.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me online? Yes, okay, thanks.
Yes.
Next slide. Okay, just a really brief summary. The Smart Sacks, we distribute 225 sacks of non-perishable food to 2 elementary schools in our county each week. We call them Smart Sacks, and they're in white, little white like grocery bags, and they contain a protein, a vegetable, some carbs, and typically 6 to 10 items. This is for the weekend supplement for children that qualify for free and reduced lunches, which I was surprised to learn recently is 45% of Montgomery County public school children.
Wow.
45%. Yes. So we have a lot of people who still have needs. Next slide. Okay, this is a representative. Actually, this one's a little smaller than normal, but that's, there's rice and oatmeal and fruit and beans and vegetables. And actually the protein is missing off of this, but we have protein too. Next slide. Okay, just an overview. This program starts with manna. Jim's going to tell you all about that because he's the manna expert, and that's a really crucial part of the program. Getting the food distributed is a big job from manna to our church, comes to Bradley Hills. Then we have setup teams that move the food and then help assemble it. And then we deliver 210 sacks to Belpre Elementary School, 15 to Seven Locks Elementary School, which is very close. So next slide, please. Okay, so Jim's going to tell you now all about manna and how he gets the food here. And
yeah, the basically manna has a couple setups in Montgomery County. We go to Rockville and pick up every other week about 1,800 pounds of food. What you're seeing in this picture is on the left is the manna warehouse where we go every other week and pick up. On the right is the food closet that we store everything, the Smart Sacks closet. This picture is actually the food we're going to pack this week. This is only 1 week of food. So we'll empty the closet this week and go this Tuesday and pick up again more food. You want to talk about this?
yeah, say next slide.
Next slide, please. Basically, this is the setup that we use. We used to do this in the hallway out front. We now use the lounge. Thank you, Adult Ed, for letting us share. And it's very nice. We have a good group of volunteers after church. We pack the sacks right after the service. Anybody can come down and help us out. It's a good family activity. We basically start at the beginning, pick up an empty bag, and then rotate around the tables to pack the sacks. And then we take the full totes and put them in the hallway. And then after that, during the week, we deliver to the schools. We basically work during the school year. From September to June, and each year Manna assigns us schools. This year we're doing different schools from last year, so each year basically Manna coordinates everything for us on our end. Next slide. And then that's the totes that are ready to go out. Last year we had 2 schools with about 100 sacks, so we had a volunteer drive to each school. This year we have a school that's over 200 sacks, so we need 2 volunteers a week to drive to 1 school. And then obviously Seven Locks is only 15 sacks, so we have 1 volunteer each week to drop that off. Next slide.
okay, so then this is just showing the delivery, sort of what happens. We go to the school, we have a contact that we call or text, and then they come out and bring us a cart, and we take the sacks out, and then the totes come back. It's a pretty mechanized system now. We have it pretty set. Next slide. Okay. So how to get involved? The best way to get involved in this program, if you're like thinking, oh, I just want to find out what's really going on, is to come after the 10:30 service. We will be in this room. The minute this is over, room will be transformed. All of that food has to come out of the closet and be organized here. And so if you want to see it, we have a lot of families that come. This project does not involve money, but it involves labor of between 20 and 25 people every week in this church. It's been a very successful program, and we're always looking for new people. Jim, do you have some special requests?
No, just again, if you have any interest in helping, the easiest is to come after the 10:30 service or find Elaine or myself. If you want to get more involved with like delivering to schools or other things. We're trying to develop teams where they only have to deliver like once a month. So there's not much of a burden on anybody for this program.
Right, but it's good. There are people that you can come and spend 15 minutes after church. If you have flexibility during the week, then we love to have more people that deliver, that probably takes you about an hour and 15 minutes during the week for flexibility. And then the big job is the manna job, and we will be trying to find some more people to do that. You have to have a large vehicle to do that, though. You have to have a large SUV.
Well, not large,
Well-
but you just
well-
gotta be able to carry 800 pounds of food.
Well, no, but you have hand trucks.
Yeah, we have hand trucks, but basically, Frank Rendell and I, you know, we have a Suburban and a pickup truck, so that's what we use to bring the food here each week. Okay,
Okay, thank you very much.
thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, great.
Use that, and we do the audio from me, just for the video, we can do it, and then we have to switch back. Is that gonna be? So we want to mute it now?
No,
No, let her
when I say
let-
video.
Let her say.
The major
intro,
production.
Intro, yeah.
It may go haywire, I'm just saying.
Okay. So thank you for Oh, yeah, yeah. So we're gonna try, it, right? Okay, good. So can everybody hear me? Okay, so I'm, most of you know me, I'm Brigitte Burgett, and next to me is Evelyn Gensglass from BJC. She and I will give you an overview of the activities of the Interfaith Refugee Initiative that so many of you have supported over the last 7 years. My husband will then go into future volunteer opportunities with Homes Not Borders. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share. There were about 65 million displaced people in 2016 when we started. The number has grown to 110 million in 2023, as reported by the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. So we were and are acutely aware that we are not solving the refugee crisis with what we are doing. But here's an inspiring word. We often start our meetings with that. It's by Michael Curry, a bishop in the Episcopalian Church. It is impossible to know in the moment how a small act of goodness will reverberate through time. The notion is empowering and it is frightening because it means that we are all capable of changing the world and responsible for finding those opportunities. And I think that's what we are all trying to do.
Recording in progress.
So I'm going to give over to Evelyn now.
Okay, so thank you. As Brigitte mentioned, we've been doing it for 7 years, and it's really hard to imagine that it has been so long. We started in 2016, and along the way, it was Bradley Hills Presbyterian Church, BJC, and along the way, we were joined by the Adara Ijafaria, and then most recently by the MIC, M-I-I-C, that also prays at 6601. I want to really acknowledge that Janet Ballantyne, a now deceased member from BJC, is the one who really challenged us. I guess it was in 2016 or maybe even in 2015 to get started with that. And then Bruce and Wynn Busman from BJC, my husband and I came on board, and there were others from all of the congregations who were there at the very beginning. And soon Brigitte and I became co-chairs. I don't exactly remember how that all happened. We didn't run as fast as the others, maybe. But we've been doing this for quite a while now. Early on, we decided to sponsor a family through Lutheran Social Services. Lutheran Social Services is one of the refugee agencies contracted with by the State Department, I guess, to provide refugee support. And so we've been sticking with Lutheran Social Services for all of these years. We raised money from the various congregations, and we formed committees. Some of the people in this room were on those early committees as well. We had a welcoming committee, an education committee for children, and another group of people for the adults, including English language instruction. We had an employment committee that helped with job training, that helped with searching for jobs. We have a transportation committee. We have a health and social services committee, and over the time with each family, different parts of the structure became more and more important. The official commitment was for 1 year. And here we are 7 years later, still meeting monthly. Tomorrow's our next monthly meeting, and very much doing the work. In March 2017, we started with a Karimi family, an Afghan family of 4, who was referred to us by Lutheran Social Services. We then served a brother, the father's brother, and then came a family of 4, the Yusufis, who I hope will be here today. So I hope they're coming. They were a family of 3, now a family of 4. All of these families had children, girls actually, after we started with them. And they came originally on special immigrant visas. So most of the men, special immigrant visas are ones that people who worked with the American troops or otherwise associated with Americans were given these visas. So the men usually spoke English to some extent, but the women didn't. I'm happy to say all of these families are totally self-sufficient. Some of them are becoming American citizens because they've been here long enough. And the children are doing well in school. I really can't thank the many volunteers enough for all of the time, expertise, and personal commitment they've made. There have also been financial resources that from many people in the community. We got a grant from the Jewish Community Relations Council of Washington, which was great, and we've used that. Bethesda Cares also provide, just until recently, support through one of our members. So it really does take a village. We've had doctors, lawyers, no Indian chiefs, dentists, social workers, employment and reading and speech specialists, economists, and people with many, many other talents, including patience for teaching somebody who doesn't know how to drive. And Bob Rudersheim is incredible, a saint. Exactly. He has trained many people to drive. I could not do that. Some of the people who've been really involved, like Ellen Gagne, and people from BJC and from the Adara have moved away, and the rest, and some people have dropped off and others come on. And so we've really gone through a whole multiple cycle. I don't know how many cycles of volunteers coming on. And so the people who are working now aren't the ones who started earlier. You kind of burn out with some of that. An unexpected, wonderful outcome is that we've really gotten to know each other across the congregations. We've formed deep friendships. We've participated in each other's events, religious or parties. We've developed these friendships that I think go way beyond the refugee activity. So I'm going to turn it over to Brigitte, who's going to talk about current activities.
Evelyn and I didn't even know each other before we started this. Then came the COVID pandemic, as some of you might still remember. And we continued to support, the families we had. We were now on LSS, Lutheran Social Services list. So they contacted us when they needed something, and they needed mattresses and beds. So we provided, Evelyn became good friends with one of these companies that does that. And in August of 2021, Afghanistan fell to the Taliban, and the US withdrew, or the US announced their withdrawal and the Taliban moved in. Suddenly, a huge number of Afghan refugees who had worked with US agencies or NGOs, and not just US, other countries too, were evacuated to the US. We all probably remember those pictures from the news. The resettlement agencies were totally unprepared since during the previous administration, they had to cut their staff. So they all were operating with a skeleton staff. And they were also unprepared for the flood of volunteers, people who wanted to volunteer, who had seen these pictures and wanted to volunteer. Well, we had an immediate in because our first caseworker with the Karimis was now the head of resettlement in our area. So I called Tanya and then we organized, and we learned that the immediate need was to set up apartments for newly arrived Afghan refugees. So that's what we did. We tried not to do it by ourselves, but through Kind Works, but that fell through. So we thought we'll do that. It was a wonderful and intense group effort. We ended up furnishing 9 apartments between October 21 and May 2022. About at least 40 volunteers from all 3 congregations helped, and probably more than 100 people donated items gently used or purchased. The apartments looked beautiful, but more importantly, the families felt welcomed. Often after months at military bases, one woman told me she has not slept in a bed for 3 months. We continued to support or be friends with some of these families. Could we play the video?
Yeah.
I know we are
So
over
if
time.
We can mute the thing. This is our big
I heard you.
experiment for the morning. Want to play.
Why wouldn't that?
I don't know why that wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, we had a wonderful video of the apartment setup. Actually,
You want me
could
to
show
play
it without the sound.
Yeah.
Show it.
want to show it without the sound. Yeah, we don't need sound.
Yeah, the music doesn't really.
And you will probably recognize people. This is Hussein from the Adara, Joan and Abby, Denise and Judy. Abby scrubbed that
Oh.
bathroom. That's the
a
group
fun day.
setting up. Evelyn and Marty were in Hawaii at that time.
Yeah, that was COVID time there.
So, and if you want to stop anytime, that would be fine.
I
Okay,
shunned
let me
it.
stop.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the scrubbed bathroom. It did not look like that. So,
Okay.
no, okay,
Stop.
I'm not quite done. So stop right now. So I'm not quite done. Yeah.
No, just stop. it.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, no, go to the finish. Okay, fine. Okay, so I would like to say then in January of 2022, we were approached by LSS to take on, whether we could take on another family. And we looked at each other, if not we, then who? So that was January 2022, 2 adult daughters, one with major medical problems. We didn't know at the time the extent. And we did what we did before, rented an apartment, paid for it, phased it out. They have jobs now. They did not speak English, none of them. At least 2 of the daughters are now, one is fluent, the other one is learning. And in the end, people want a safe place to live that they can afford. They want food, then they want an opportunity to work, and they want meaningful relationships. They don't have their families. So we provide some of that community too, and help them to get in touch. They need cars, so we help them get a car. Mohammed did not need driving license. He was a driver in Afghanistan. So, they really want what we want for our children and for ourselves. And then 3 months ago, Evelyn met Maria at an apartment set up through Homes Not Borders. She is a courageous young woman who is right here with 2 years of college education in law and political science, who came by herself to the US on a refugee program. Evelyn and I sort of adopted her, mainly because we like her. And her LSS, her resettlement agency, did really not follow through on providing the services. And there's nothing like bonding either over a meal or when you go to the Department of Human Services and sit there for a few hours. And it really has been a joy, and she started a job and wants to continue her college education as soon as possible. And so we just kind of find these unofficial opportunities. And if you would like to get involved, anybody else would like to get involved, we have a lot of expertise. And if there is a group of 8 to 10 people who would like to do this over again and adopt a family, we can help you to organize that. And now a more concrete opportunity to volunteer. And Dave will present through Homes Not Borders.
Set it on the table. It's a good microphone.
By the way, that furniture,
Okay.
Hartman, when she moved to Florida.
We got the microphone plugged back in. I hope everybody online can hear now. Do we know whether they can? Okay. Well, after we had the Interfaith Initiative had gotten these 2 or 3 families set up, we were looking around maybe for other opportunities to help with apartment setups, because there were a number of people who were interested in that and had done a great job in it. So eventually we got hooked up with Homes Not Borders, which is a nonprofit located here in the Washington area. And what they do is primarily, they've since got into some other services, but primarily is furnishing apartments for arriving refugees. And the way that works is one of the resettlement agencies, such as the International Rescue Committee or Lutheran Social Services, will notify them that they have a particular family that's ready to come, and they'll get an apartment. And then basically Homes Not Borders is completely responsible to do the furnishing. And it's largely done with volunteers, although they do have a small staff on that they hire. If you look at the picture here on the left, just standing next to me are Waleed and Atir. And I mention that because Waleed is a refugee from Iraq and Atir, I think, from Afghanistan.
No, they're both.
They're both from Iraq. Okay. Anyway, they've since been hired by Homes Not Borders, and they help on repairing furniture and also moving furniture and that kind of thing. And Waleed recently just got his U.S. citizenship. So the furniture that's and the furnishings, the home furnishings, it's not just furniture, it's everything, the kitchen setup, the bath setup, and toiletries and the like, bedding. A lot of it is new. All of the bedding, the beds, the mattresses, and the bedding, all of that is new. And Homes Not Borders acquires that with funds that they get through grants or just through individual donations to the charity. And then most of the other furniture is donated. And you see on the right there, James Scroggs with his wonderful truck, which I keep telling him is too small, with some donated furniture. And the way this works is a typical setup day will begin at 9:30 in the morning at the warehouse. out in Riverdale, which is in Prince George's County. And about half of the volunteer team will load up cars, and this truck that you see there on the left, truck will take the furniture, and then cars will take boxes of kitchen goods and bath goods, et cetera, and then drive to the apartment. And many of them are in the Riverdale area in Prince George's County, and more recently, many of them are in Silver Spring and various high rises there. And then the other half, the team will get there maybe 10:30 or 11 o'clock. And then the other half of the team will go directly to the apartment and help unload everything, get it inside, and then set it up. So, and the whole process typically is finished by 1 o'clock. So it doesn't take necessarily any more than about a 3-hour commitment once in a while if you're interested in doing this. A little longer if you go to the warehouse rather than going directly to the apartment. And one thing I want to emphasize, a lot of people I think have a misconception about this. They think about moving in or moving apartments, and they think it's primarily about physical labor, heavy lifting and carrying and so on. And it's really not. There is some of that involved, but Atir and Wali and a few individuals can do most of that. And 90% of the tasks do not involve any heavy labor. It's things like washing dishes, putting dishes away, making beds, maybe assembling a crib or something of that nature, but not heavy labor. So people shouldn't feel that they're ineligible if they're not up to doing that kind of thing. And as a matter of fact, in the ones that are in Silver Spring are usually in elevator buildings, so you're not even carrying stuff. You're just pushing it on a dolly into the elevator, and then up there you push it into the apartment. So what are the ways then that people are able to get involved? There are a couple different ways. One is if you have furniture or household goods that are in good condition. Again, not beds or bedding, but anything else, kitchen items, living room, etc., side tables, etc., that you want to donate, you can do that. There are a couple different ways. You can either drop it off at their warehouse in Landover or Riverdale in Prince George's County. Or if you have a lot of stuff that's in good condition, sometimes they can arrange to pick it up with a truck. And in order to do that, what you do is, if you want to take things to the warehouse, you just email them at homesnotborders.org with a picture of what you want to donate. They'll give you the thumbs up, yes, we can use that, or no, we can't use that. And if so, you can drop it off almost any time during the week. If you want to try to arrange a pickup for, if you have a lot of items, furniture and the like, you can do that also. You go online again to homesnotborders.org, and they just have a very simple form where you describe the items that you have and you upload pictures if possible. And then they'll get back to you within the next week or two, hopefully, and say thumbs up or not, and arrange a time to pick up if they're able to do that. And then the other way, of course, is volunteering to help with setups. There are a couple different ways you can do that. One is you just go to this website you see on the screen there, homesnotborders.org, and just sign up, as there's a very simple form to sign up as a volunteer. If you do that, you'll get 1 or 2 emails a week telling you what the setups are going to be for the following week. And if you're able and interested in volunteering, all you do is click the link, and there's a 30-second form to fill out to identify yourself, and then you're good to go. Then you just either meet them at the warehouse or meet them at the apartment, depending on how much of a time commitment you're willing to make. The other thing that some people have done, for example, Bob Rudershan and James Scroggs have volunteered on various occasions. And at their request, if I'm going, I just notify them. I say, hey, I'm going on Tuesday or whatever. And then if they're available, they'll come also. So if you're interested in joining up with a group of people, you can just email me or call me or just let me know in person. And that works also. One final thing about the timing, many of their setups are during the week. So it's typically, unproductive retired people such as myself who do this. However, we would more than welcome people who are productively employed or in school who are interested in doing this. And if any such persons are interested, please contact me. If we can get a small critical mass of even just a handful of people, it does not take very many, I can arrange with Homes Not Borders to do one on a Saturday, so those people can do it. So please, give that some thought. I've mentioned to Matt a few times, and Brigitte has as well, that I would be happy to lead or organize a youth thing on Saturday. We haven't been able to get that together yet, but I'm still hopeful, and possibly in conjunction with some folks from the BJC, to do that on a weekend day. So we'll see if that eventually happens or not.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joan Burns, a long-term member of Bradley Hills. I wanted to talk this morning about our burgeoning relationship with Faith Presbyterian Church, which is located off South Capitol Street in Anacostia, across the river. For several years, we've been developing this relationship, and our joint efforts so far have included the garden, which is on the property of Faith Presbyterian. It's called the Eden Garden, which stands for Everyone Deserves to Eat Naturally. So of course, in Washington, we have to have an acronym, right? So that's one of our initiatives. We're involved with Patterson Elementary School, which is the elementary school very close to Faith Presbyterian Church. And then lastly, we've been very involved with Feeding Families Food Pantry. Next slide. Here's a couple of pictures from 2021 when we helped actually build some of the raised beds and greenhouse structure at the Garden at Eden. The last 2 summers, the church has taken on management of the garden without our assistance, but we've talked a little bit about maybe helping them with seedlings in the coming year. That's in discussion. You'll hear more about that. But it's I was in a call this week, and sadly, all the fall crop has been consumed by groundhogs in the last 2 weeks. Apparently, there was kale, there was squash, there was all sorts of lovely fall vegetables, and overnight they all went underground. So there's going to be some effort put toward combating the groundhogs in the coming months. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I'll pass it on. So that's our garden project. We are supporting the Garden at Eden with funds, I should say, to continue to get the soil, the seeds, and all the things that go with that. And the garden is working with a street pastor in Anacostia who is working with at-risk youth to give them gainful employment. It's a whole thing. I won't go into it because we're not actively involved, but it is a really interesting relationship that Faith has with youth in the neighborhood, which is very cool. So next slide. I'm going to try to do this really quick so we have time for questions. We have been involved the last few years not only with funding for gift cards for the teachers at Patterson Elementary School, but we've also been involved with teacher appreciation lunch. You might recognize Rebecca Liu in there. Mila Williams is in one of those photos from the 2022 pictures. There, we also provide funds for Faith to assemble back to school kits for some of the youth at Patterson Elementary School. And we have helped do the physical pack up of those supplies in August each year. So I'll circle back to Patterson in a minute, but I just wanted to say that it's an opportunity for many more things for not only Faith but Bradley Hills folks to become involved with the staff and students at Patterson. I'll circle back to that in a minute. Next slide. The big project that we've been mostly involved with is Feeding Families. You'll see Elaine Henderson there in a photo on the left. that is a really cool project. Faith Presbyterian began this project during COVID in partnership with other faith communities in the Anacostia neighborhood where they are located. And each congregation took one Saturday a month to have a food pantry. And over time, the other congregations fell away with that initiative, but Faith Presbyterian has held firm with their third Saturday of the month food distribution. And boy, the word is out. People know well in advance that on the third Saturday of the month, they can start lining up. So what happens during the Feeding Family Project, if you can, next slide, the volunteers assemble in the morning. Faith Presbyterian acquires the non-perishable food items, and a team, we send a team of 4 to 5 volunteers from Bradley Hills to support the Faith Presbyterian team. And they pack up 50 bags of groceries, not all non-perishables. When they can, they include fresh protein and fresh vegetables. That was kind of the idea behind the Eden Garden, was to provide vegetables to put into the bags. It hasn't quite materialized enough to make that a standard thing. We take the bags out to the corner of the property, which is on South Capitol Street, and folks pull up in their cars, as you can see here. Next slide. There's a picture of the team that we had last December. Steve and I are in that photo. Rebecca Lou's there. Paul Martin, I think, took the picture because I can't find him in the photo. We go to the corner of the property, and within 45 minutes, all the bags have been distributed. So you can imagine 50 bags gone in just a few minutes really speaks to the need in the neighborhood. And I did a head count, and since we started helping Faith with feeding families in August of 2022, more than 40 members of Bradley Hills congregation have taken part, which is really cool. So yay, that's a really nice number. I love the fact that we've involved so many people, and it's a one-off. You know, it's for a few hours in the morning. I'm looking around, I'm seeing people in this room who have definitely helped. So some of you are nodding your heads because you know what I'm talking about. The next day, I should say, we volunteered to support their project on alternate months, so 6 times a year. And I was told this week, if anybody wants to help the other months, they're more than happy to have us come. But our next date is December 16th. We currently have, in the chat, yeah, the Sign Up Genius that Carol just posted runs through December. I'm going to be launching a new Sign Up Genius that will start with in 2024. I thought I'd split up the year so we wouldn't have this long list of dates. But we still could use 2 to 3 more volunteers for Saturday morning, December 16th. Go to the sign up to show your support, or you can email me, talk to me in the hallway. I'm easily found. In February, we are sending for the second time a team from our youth. So I've been talking with Matt Nabinger, and the youth helped, I can't remember one time this past year, and they're going to help in February. So that will be great. So actually other than December, the next time won't be until April. So you've got time to think about it. So what I wanted to say again is a little bit about our mission coordination lay ministry, which has been very supportive of the program. In the spring of 2023, the lay ministry chose to support Faith's entire mission projects with over $13,000 in funds to cover 2023 and 2024 calendar years. And so the church has really been given a boost from us to pursue the projects that are most meaningful for them. So in a recent meeting, we talked a lot about ways that we can expand our support for Patterson Elementary School. And apparently the school's been thinking about this because they came back with a really long list of ways that that Faith Presbyterian, and by extension, how we can help them. A couple of them are really easy. They apparently have a career day every May, and they're looking for folks to come in and speak for a few minutes to a class about their careers. And obviously everybody who's ever had a job can talk about what they've done. And these are opportunities for kids to learn about the world. I know a couple of years ago, Nadia Schmedigan went and talked about being an architect or designer. And apparently that went really well. So that will be a date in May. The date is not announced. I'll be publicizing that. The school's looking for volunteer readers to come into classrooms and read with individual kids or read to a whole classroom. And again, we're learning more about what that might look like. And the one that really touches me is they want to restart a young ladies mentoring program that would meet monthly and end with a tea. And I think that is just the most wonderful idea. And if anyone has ever been involved in anything like that, I would love to hear from you because I think it would be really fun. So in closing, I just simply say that we have a lot of optimism and excitement about future opportunities for supporting Faith Presbyterian Church. It's about a 30-minute drive, give or take, from here. And it's an easy drive. And yeah, there we go. There's my email address and the Saturdays that are coming up in the coming year. We've named the dates. So I look forward to hearing from lots of folks who want to do things. Thanks.
So much. At this point, we'll hear from Jenny Klein from her position at home, main position. And she'll be talking to us about Becky's house. Jen?
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you this morning and have an opportunity to share some information regarding the Becky House dinner ministry. Next slide. This ministry has a long history with Bradley Hills, well over 20 years. I had the opportunity to become involved under the loving leadership of Kate Picard, who led this work for well over 13 years. And originally, meals were being provided to a shelter by the name of Bethesda's House. And then that became Dorothy Day Place. Dorothy Day Place was being managed by Catholic Charities. When the management of Dorothy Day Place changed from Catholic Charities to Interfaith Works, in conversation with them, we decided that Becky's House was a better fit for our program. And that gave us an opportunity for a new program with Interfaith Works. Next slide. Becky's House. What is Becky's House? So first off, Becky's House is named after Becky Wagner. And I'm sure many of you may be aware that Becky was a long-term member of Bradley Hills Presbyterian. And she was the executive director of Interfaith Works for over 11 years. And this house is named after her. It's located in Rockville. It is a group home that provides a home for 8 senior and disabled women. Many of these women have spent years on the street and now gratefully are no longer homeless. They're in a situation where they have 24-hour case management and services designed to really make sure that their overall health and stability is maintained and improved. Next slide. So what do we do? Well, it's really pretty simple. This is a very straightforward program. We cook and deliver dinner to the 8 women who live at Becky's House the second Monday of every month. And so this is a great opportunity for a family or even an individual or a group of friends. We've had groups of friends get together and do this to make a simple meal and deliver it and have impact in the community. It's a one-time event. So when you're signing up for one Monday of the entire year. We provide meal suggestions and it's very simple cooking, not fancy. So it's a neat way to give of your time and talent and care in a one time per year type of event. Next slide. So how can you get involved? Well, I will put the Sign Up Genius in chat. You can also email me or call me if you're interested. We currently have 7 opportunities in 2024 left. So we're eager to get that filled. Last year, we filled our sign up very quickly. And we're kind of monitoring that to see if we do the same this year, if we fill up those 2024 slots early in the year. We're in conversation with Interfaith Works to possibly expand the program to add Lawns House, which is a new group home for otherwise homeless men, also located in Rockville. And that one is named after the founder of Interfaith Works, who was a retired Presbyterian minister. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'll put the sign up in chat. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. One person really can make a difference that you all can hear. And I know that Alan had a question for Smart Snacks to start things off. So do you know there were
Yeah,
costs involved?
there is no cost to Bradley Hills Presbyterian Church for Smart Sacks, except for minimal,
Got it. Pardon? Sorry.
maybe $100 a year, or sometimes some of us just buy the totes. I mean, it's not, it's a labor. That's the beauty of this. And I should acknowledge John Lowe and his daughter Hannah, who I think it's been 7 or 8 years ago. Hannah found out about this at her school in a